Adam Hills, I'm so happy that you could join us on Plan B today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We are supposed to walk away feeling happy after we've seen a comedy act, but what I love about yours is that you do walk away smiling and you don't end up feeling bad because your comedy isn't offensive. You don't make fun of people. Was that a conscious decision you made earlier on in your career to be funny, but don't poke fun at people?
Yeah, I think it's been a gradual progression. I think when I started doing stand-up, I was 19, and now there are a lot of, people 16, 17, 18 doing stand-up.
Yeah.
But when I started in Sydney, I was definitely the youngest stand-up in Sydney. There was another guy who was 19, and then everyone else was, easily in their early 20s.
Yeah.
So, and I really came from, suburban Sydney, happy family, lovely upbringing. So I couldn't really go out on stage and be harsh. I had no worldview for a start. I had no experience.
Yeah.
You know what? I was still a virgin. There you go. I couldn't even do routines about sex, which is what everybody else was doing. So
yeah.
What I realised, it took me a few weeks to realise it, but what I realised was what I am best at is talking about what I know. And so I talked about my family and living in suburbs. And I kind of had this kind of, I don't know, almost inoffensive boy next door persona,
yeah.
which in Sydney in the late 80s, not many, it was all about kill or be killed on stage. So I guess it started with that, and then I ended up in Adelaide and I did a lot of comparing, and I realised that if you're talking to the audience, the show goes better if you find a way to elevate them while making jokes about them rather than putting them in their place, because you get them all on side. And then when I started coming to the UK, I realised that in the kind of late 90s, after the Thatcher government, after the Tories had been ousted, there were a lot of comedians who had spent most of their time attacking the government, now had a new government and they didn't know what to do or who to attack. And I think I got here at the right time where I went, well, why can't you just be happy?
Yeah.
Things are going well.
I really like that. And early on in your career, you spoke about the fact that, you were born without a right foot, but then you were advised not to. When did you decide to bring it back into your act and make it a part of, because this is who you are?
Yeah, it was, I was advised not to by someone who said, look, if you start talking about your foot, you'll just become known as the one-legged comedian and you'll never be able to talk about anything else.
Yeah.
Which was excellent advice. It was really after, it was a combination of things. It was the fact that I was nominated for the Perrier Award in Edinburgh, which for something, it's in my head, it made me go, okay, I've proved myself now. I've proven myself. I've shown that I can do stand-up comedy. I've been nominated for an award. If I talk about my foot, I can always think, no, I got this award for just talking about everyday stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a combination of that, and then September 11 happened, and the reaction of my foot when going through airports I thought was amazing, because I figured I'd be stopped and have to lift my jeans and show people, yes, it's a prosthetic.
Yeah.
And at first, after September 11, I wasn't. People were freaked out. They didn't know how to deal with it. So I'd be waved through, and it ended up as a bit of a routine, but it was true. There was a guy just going, "No, go through, mate. No, go through," as if he was more concerned about offending me than letting an actual accidental terrorist get on the plane. So two things. One, I felt okay talking about it because I'd proven myself as a stand-up. And two, there was a reason to talk about it because I realised that it would make people less afraid of dealing with people with one leg or one arm or any kind of disability.
Yeah. And you did that so well during the Paralympics show, The Last Leg, where you had a segment called Is It Okay? Because some people are just genuinely interested. They want to ask a question, but they're scared that they might be offending you with that question. So it's great that you gave people the forum to actually ask these questions and for these questions to be discussed.
Well, yeah, it was interesting, actually. We did an episode of The Last Leg last night, and Eddie Izzard was the guest.
Yeah.
And he said afterwards, and I hadn't thought of this, he said, you know what, it's a sign of how far we've come and how far your show has come in dealing with disabilities and people who are different, that he said, you can have me on set in high heels, eyeliner, and nail polish, and not once was it mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys have now become so accepting of people who are slightly different that a transvestite can walk on set and you don't even bat an eyelid. Yeah, okay, I haven't even thought of that. But yeah, I think, and that was the other thing about the Paralympics and the Is It Okay is that we knew that we were going to have to do a segment to answer people's questions because we knew people would have questions. We didn't do it on the first show, and then someone actually just tweeted in saying, is it okay to ask one of these questions. And we went, oh, hang on, that's the name of the segment.
Yeah.
Let's call it that. But it was never, we never set out to break down barriers. We never went, right, we're going to do a show that, you know, makes people feel comfortable about disability, blah, blah, blah. All we said was, we're going to make a show that celebrates the Paralympics.
Yeah. And now the last leg, are we going to see more of the last leg?
Yes, we finished the series last night. As far as I know, we're coming back in January next year.
Brilliant.
And there'll be a whole other series then. In fact, we're signed up for a couple more series next year. So as far as I know, it will be a regular fixture.
It really has been cool and such a pleasure to talk to you and continue doing what you're doing, because it's great to know that people out there are doing good things and doing so well. You don't have to be nasty to get ahead.
And you know what? Forget disability. Let's get more Aussie acceptance in the media.
I'm with you 100%, Adam. Adam Hills, thank you so much.